Hello guys, Quick Capital's back here to bring you guys another Vanguard deck profile. I apologize for the absence for about 2 months. Things got really busy and really hectic. School, work, I just started playing baseball all over again. And yeah, things are pretty crazy. But no, we're back here and we're actually about to premiere a deck that I just put together yesterday and play tested from the new release of the Vanguard G Legend Deck 2 featuring Dragonic Overlord, the Legend. I play tested the deck yesterday. I did pretty well. It's a lot of fun. The deck is a great old blast. I enjoyed playing it so much. But yeah, without further ado, let's actually get into it. So, for our starter, we play Lizard Hero Undo. Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1, put this unit into your soul, search your deck for up to one card with Overlord in its card name, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So, he is pretty much your starting engine for the deck. All grade 3s are Overlord, and most your strides, your one stride, and the Legend himself requires to drop Flame Dragons and Overlord, so he's pretty much your fuel for the deck. There are plenty of other ways to get grade 3 Flame Dragons, but he's a really great help. One Counterblast, pop him into the soul, and he helps out with the Legend's soul blasting as well. So, one Lizard Hero Undo for our starter. And next up, we have the MVP. There are going to be a lot of those. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Dragonic Overlord, the Legend. So what the Legend does is he has a Generation Break 2. Once per turn, activate, Counterblast 1, choose a grade 3 or greater Flame Dragon from your hand and discard it. Till the end of turn, he gets plus 15,000 power, 1 grade, and 1 drive check. Plus 1 grade and plus 1 drive check. And then choose 3 cards from your hand and discard them. At the end of the battle, this unit attack the rear guard. You may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit. So, restanding Vanguard and attacking a rear guard, pretty much basic Overlord stuff. And he becomes a stride. He becomes a grade 4, gets a triple drive, and he gains the power of a stride too. Then he also has a Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. When he's placed on Vanguard, you could check the top 5 for a Flame Dragon, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. So, he's good himself. He is good, sorry about that. He is good, engine on his own for a Counterblast 1 and a Soul Blast 1. So, there are quite a few soul charging units, such as the starter and one of our triggers. So, you don't need to soul blast too much in this deck, but the soul charging helps, so you can soul blast carefree, pretty much. But, yeah, no, the Legend is the MVP. There are a lot of cards in this deck that work off of grade 4s, and turning him into a grade 4 himself is just phenomenal. He is boss, big man, MVP, first MVP of the deck. Next, for our grade 3s, a lot of people play the greats. I decided to play 3 of the Break Ride and teching in 1 Rebirth. SP Rebirth, by the way. Let it focus. You believe me. Alright, so if you don't know, the Break Ride came out from set 15 along with the Rebirth. What he does is when a grade 3 Kagero rides this unit, limit break 4, Counterblast 1, choose a card from your hand and discard it. Your Vanguard gains at the end of the battle, this unit attacks the rear guard. You may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your Vanguards and stand it. So, he is a restander. So, if you combine this in combination with the Legend, so if you Break Ride into the Legend, you gain the Break Ride skill, activate the Legend skill. The Break Ride does say, even if the cost is not paid, you cannot use this ability for the rest of the turn. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to Break Ride, activate the Legend skill, swing at the 1 rear guard. Use the Break Ride skill first, because the Legend doesn't have that same text effect. So you use the Break Ride skill first, drop 1 card, restand, attack the other rear guard, do your triple drive, drop 3 cards, and then restand again with the Legend skill, and then swing at the Vanguard. So you don't lose any drive checks at all. So with this combination, if they hit 2 rear guards in the front row, you're gaining 9 drive checks. 9 drive checks, that's amping up your Vanguard and any other rear guards with triggers like crazy. It's a very fun combination, and that's why I like to play the Break Ride. I feel that the Great can kind of slow this deck down. Especially if you have to wait on a Legion turn. With this, if you ride into this, say you have to ride first. You can ride into this, do your things. You can let them push you to 4 damage. Or you can even just sit on this for stride, and you don't have to wait for Legion at all. So like he himself is good to wait on. Whereas I don't know, I just have mixed feelings about the Legend. The Great. I think that this combo is faster. I think it's a lot more potent as well. And the Wonder Birth, he's just kind of here. This is the Rob version of the Legend deck. And he's just in there for fun. I've never used him at all in this deck, but just to keep the Overlords in the name and just for a little bit of fun. But yeah, that's it for Grade 3s. Onward now to Grade 2s. We play 4 of the new Emperor Dragonite Nahalem, MVP number 2. So what he does is, during your turn, if you have an Vanguard with Overlord in its card name, he gains plus 2,000. And he also gains auto. Whenever a Grade 4 unit attacks, he gains plus 5,000. So every single time your Grade 4 attacks, he's gaining 5,000. He's gaining more power. So that's why I'm saying, like, the Break Ride combination is just as potent, because if he's on the rear guard, if you have 2 of them on the rear guard, or at least one of them, and you go into the Break Ride combination, he's gaining plus 15. He's gaining plus 15 power. Like, that's insane. He already becomes an 11k attacker. Plus 15 puts him at 26 on his own. So, Nahalem, MVP number 2. Next up for MVP number 3, 4 Dragonic Burnouts. So he's another card that came out at set 15. Soul Blast 1. When he's placed a rear guard, you could search your drop zone for an Overlord, put it at the bottom of your deck. If you do, choose a unit and retire it. So he is your recycler. You drop Overlords if you have to drop Overlords for stride, which you will if you don't play stride fodder. I don't play stride fodder, so he's wonderful in this deck. So he recycles your Overlords, he gets them back, and he gets a pretty good retire. For a Soul Blast, which, like I said before, Soul Blasting isn't an issue, MVP number 3. Moving on to MVP number 4, we have the new Berserk. Berserk Lord Dragon, Counterblast 1. When your Grade 4 or greater Vanguard attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a unit Grade 2 or less and retire it. So he is like Nahalem. Every single time that your Vanguard attacks, you can Counterblast 1, retire a unit. So if you have the spare Counterblast, if you have the opportunity to do it and he is on the field, your Vanguard attacks 3 times, bam, just retire 3 units for 3 Counterblasts. You might be thinking to yourself, that's really hectic. Why would you want to use all those Counterblasts? I will show you a card in just a second after we go to our last Grade 2, which will give you a reason. And for our last Grade 2, not really an MVP, but he's kind of a nice add, is the new Bar. Armor of the Flame Dragon Bar. So what he does is, when he intercepts, you can choose a Grade 3 or greater Flame Dragon, put it to the bottom of the deck, and he becomes a 15k intercept. He gains plus 10,000 shield when he intercepts. He's a rarely used card for your Grade 2s. I kind of have him in there just as like a backup recycler for burnout. And plus the nice defense is pretty good. You do draw a lot in this deck, so you will have a huge hand. So defense isn't really too much of an issue in the long run. But, I mean, he is still a nice add. Taking him in at 2 is pretty nice. He has saved me in a few situations, so he is not an MVP, but he is an appreciated card. Now, moving on to, what was that? This is our 5th MVP. We have the new Conroe, Lizard General Conroe. So he has a Stride Fighter skill. When he's placed on rear guard, you could reveal a Grade 3 or greater from your hand. Search your deck for an Overlord, add it to your hand, choose a card and discard it. Then he has a secondary skill, and activate. You can retire this unit Choose up to one of your Vanguards with Overlord, and until the end of turn it gets, whenever this unit attacks, countercharge 2. So the deck does counterblast a lot. The Legend, the Break Ride, the Ace, the Novell Stride, Berserk, everything does counterblast. Many things counterblast. So the fact that you could just put this on rearguard, sack it, and every single time it attacks, which more than likely you're attacking twice, you're countercharging 2, you're basically giving yourself a reset on your counterblast, which is phenomenal. He is MVP number 5. Conroe got a pretty good upgrade compared to his banned version. But you can still play his banned version. It still does work out very nice in this deck. I just choose not to because I think other cards are kind of more important. Moving on to Perfect Guards. The new Eremo, Flame of Tranquility Eremo. So he's basically like the Shadow Paladin Perfect Guard from the Legend deck. You can only use him from hand. And if you have another copy of him, you can draw a card and discard a card. So, nice hand filter. A very good card to have. You could play either the G Perfect Guard for countercharging or this. Doesn't really matter. It's really just personal preference. And since you have to have Overlords, I kind of like him just for the simple fact that you can filter out through your hand. So, 4 Perfect Guards. Next, MVP number 6, which we're only playing 2 of, is Dragon Partner Monica. Generation Break 1. Whenever she boosts a Flame Dragon, the boosted unit gains plus 3,000 power. Sorry for everything being so blurry. Let me just point that out now. Sorry for everything being a little blurry. I don't know why my phone is not adjusting fast enough. But, yeah, so she doesn't have to boost a Flame Dragon Vanguard. You do have a few Flame Dragon grade 2s. So she can boost a Flame Dragon grade 2 and give it more power. So she basically makes herself a 10k booster to any Flame Dragon. It does not matter if it's Vanguard or Rearguard, which is phenomenal. That is really good. It sucks that Nahalem isn't a Flame Dragon, but what are you going to do? That'd be a little broken. Alright. And now on to our last grade 1s. Play the new Tar. Spear of the Flame Dragon Tar. So he is another one of your Overlord engines. Activate once per turn. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your other units until the end of turn. It gets plus 4,000. And then whenever this unit attacks a Vanguard, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Search for 1 grade 3 or greater Flame Dragon. Add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. So, wow, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so basically he's another engine for the deck. You don't use him too much. The plus 4,000 is kind of nice, and it doesn't matter who you give it to. You can give it to your Vanguard, Rearguard, doesn't matter. But the 4,000 is nice, and he isn't an MVP, but you know what? He's still nice to have. Very good, not tech card. Very good card to play alongside with everything else to get your deck going as fast as possible. And as best as possible. You want those Overlords in your hand. Trust me, guys. Alright. On to triggers. 4 of, oh my god, the biggest demotion in history. Satan Master Goku. Doesn't matter what crits you play, but he was a grade 3. And now he's a trigger. That's like the greatest demotion in all Vanguard history. Boom. And boom. 8 crit. Doesn't matter. I chose the 2 hollows that it gives you from the deck. He's nice. I like his hollow. Very pretty. And then this is personal preference again, but 4 of Gatling Claw Dragon. So basically, Counterblast 1, Sniper Starter. I have him in the deck. Basically for the soul charging and to pop annoying starters. The deck does retire a little bit, but getting that early starter retire is very nice. And then for the new heal trigger from the deck, Shiny, 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 shiny. Anyway, so yeah, it's pretty standard for Kagero. I know everyone and their sister plays that Gatling Claw. I don't know why you wouldn't, in my honest opinion. But hey, it doesn't really matter. If you want to save on the Counterblast, that is fine. You go ahead and do what you want to do. And now, onto the strides. Two of the new Dragonic strides. So we have Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon Vortex Desire. So basically what he does is there we go. Choose a card, face down card from your G zone and turn it face up. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, until the end of the battle, this unit gets, when this attack hits, for each Flame Dragon on your Vanguard, choose up to one of your grade 2, your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and retire it. So, the fact that he G-flips on his first attack is wonderful. It sucks a little bit that it has to hit, but you can't complain because this is a perfect first turn stride, and right after you stride, you can get your legend going. So, a very beautiful first turn stride. I cannot complain with this. Next up, we have 4 of... There we go. Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon, Dragonic Overlord, the Ace. 2 of the GR version and 2 of the promo version, because I'm not that shiny hungry. But the legend, the Ace, what he does is activate Counterblast 2, G Persona flip him. If you activate the cost, he gets -1 drive, and at the end of the battle that he attacks, if you drop 1 card from your hand and an Overlord from your hand, restand him and he gains +5. So a beautiful restanding Vanguard. A good combination with him and Tar, because Tar has to have your unit attack a Vanguard. So you swing at the Vanguard, check the top 5 for a grade 3 Flame Dragon, add it to your hand. So clutch moments, if you don't have that Overlord in your hand, use him, target him with Tar, first attack, check top 5, grab that Overlord because you have to pay the cost after your first attack. So you grab that grade 3 and then you're ready to do the Ace's skill. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. And now for our last 2 strides of the deck, 2 of the new Novell stride. See, Transcendent Divine Dragon, Novell Vague Express. Don't judge me. Alright, so he has a GB2, Counterblast 1, choose a face down card, named him. So G Persona flip him. During the battle this unit attacked, your opponent cannot guard with grade 1s or greater from their hand to guard, and if your opponent has 5 or more damage, they can't, all trigger effects are nullified. This is a dastardly finishing stride. Like, there are so many times that I strode into him yesterday, and my opponent's like, alright, you won. And there are 5 damage. There's nothing they can do. If they cannot perfect guard this attack and they don't have enough, you win. You win. You win. That's pretty much what he does. He is your win card. Opponents have 5 damage. You stride into him. You just slap him in the face. You make them feel bad about themselves. So, yeah. That is that. And that is all on the deck, guys. The deck is very fast. The deck is very potent. The deck can reach a lot of power. Its only weakness is early game rush. If your opponent hits you hard and hits you fast early, damage-wise is not so bad. If they snipe rear guards, you're in a little bit of a problem. But you can make up for that with the legends, obscene amount of drawing and all that. But you gotta try and recover from that fast if they get you down. So that is the only weakness of the deck. Other than that, the deck is a blast to play. It is so much fun. I enjoyed this thoroughly playing this yesterday. And another big weakness is Pale Moon, because they return everything and you have nothing to attack in the front row. Certain clans that return their cards are kind of an annoyance to this deck because you can't really use the legend as good as you want to. That pretty much makes your deck more stride focused, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just kind of annoying because you want to do all that restanding, you want to have that fun, but you know what? Those clients are like, no, I'm gonna go away. You can't do anything to me. But yeah, that's the deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is our first deck in 2 months, so I hope this helped you guys in any way. So, without further ado, I will see you guys later.